How's it going, world? Welcome back to the Pupilvox Hall of Fame. It's Leo here, of course, joined by Oliver Rhodes, my executive producer. How you doing, Ollie?
Hi, I'm good this morning.
Very good, very good. Our guest today and Hall of Fame inductee, I would say, needs no introduction, but we are going to try and give him one anyway. He was the founder and CEO of men's Australian footwear royalty, Antoine and Stanley, before going on to run operations for fashion giants Showpo. He's now the CEO at The Horse, a curated collection of leather lifestyle goods, go-to pieces out of Sydney, Australia. It's a brand that's grown massively online, and actually just recently they've opened a flagship store in Manly Beach. He is also one of the top 19 most important people in e-commerce, an advisor, a speaker, a dad, but now, most importantly, a Pupilvox Hall of Famer. Please welcome Paul Waddy.
Wow. And thank you very much, Leo. Thank you, Ollie. And I will, of course, update my LinkedIn profile accordingly at the end of this induction.
That is
my new accolade. So thank you so much.
And just delete the rest. Just put this.
Of course, yeah. Just leave it there. The offers flow in.
Paul, it'd be great to start just kind of looking back. I'm interested to know what it was that first got you so interested in kind of retail and fashion that actually, led you to say, right, I'm gonna start my own business and give this a go on my own. Yeah,
so that was probably back in around 2003, 2004. I started thinking about doing my own brand of footwear, and it was that stereotypical experience where I was looking for a pair of shoes and I couldn't find any that I liked, and I was that were sort of under $300. And I'm the sort of person that gets quite hooked on things, and when I get things in my head, I tend to try and follow them through. So I started chipping away, and then in 2005 I launched this brand, Antoine and Stanley, while I was still working. So at the time, I was actually a union official at a trade union in Australia, which is a bit of a weird path for a then 23-year-old. Fairly weird position to be in. Talking to sort of hardened union members as a 23-year-old was a bit weird. But a good experience. And then 2007, I sort of took the full-time step, and sort of did that for a good 10 years before, as you mentioned, I decided to stop doing my own thing, and I wanted a new challenge. And Showpo was a company that I'd watched with admiration for a couple of years, and I just wanted to be a part of it, and was lucky enough to become the head of operations there at a time when it was rapid growth and really probably one of the success stories in Australian e-com. And it was a great ride, and I really it was 2.5 years, I think, nearly 3 years, and it was non-stop. It was fast. As Ollie will tell you, we did things quicker than most, and we wanted everything done tomorrow, and we just charged ahead, and we had this mentality of just never stopping, keep moving forward, and it was a hell of a good time. And then I moved on from there to The Horse, which is another company that I believe it'd been around 10 years, but I believed it had potential to go further and to be bigger. And I came along here to really try and accelerate that growth, give it some real solid, reasonably quick, profitable growth. And that was about 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I in this role, I'm freed up to do some consulting to 3 or 4 other similar sort of high growth e-com businesses. So I get to do a few different things, which keeps it interesting. But it's so it's been I don't know, 13, 14 years chipping away in this industry for me, and here I am as I look at myself in the Zoom, quite grey. So
no, it's really been pretty impressive journey. guess going into a kind of one stage at a time, if we can. So with Antoine and Stanley, as you said, 10-year journey. What are some of your fondest memories from that time, and also what are some of the things that you had to overcome as initial hurdles, sort of doing it for the first time?
I think, the fond memories are just the little things like getting the brand, getting the website live, getting your logo designed, getting your first samples in. The best days for me were always getting samples in or getting stock in and looking at it and just loving what you've produced and seeing people wearing it was great. And then signing good accounts. I remember signing David Jones here as a wholesale account. We did a lot of wholesale in those days. Getting ASOS in the UK as my first client in the UK, I believe, was massive. So we had, many great times there. I think the challenges were as a 23, 24, 25-year-old going to the bank and asking for money to get it started. And the nature of that stress that it puts on you as a young person. Wholesale, as you've got to, if you get a couple of big accounts, you've got to go and pay for the stock and often not get paid yourself for 3 to 6 months. So you've got to float a reasonably sized business at a young age, and that puts a strain on your cash flow. It puts a backseat on a lot of your personal plans. And that's part of the reason why I much prefer online, because of the cash positive nature of dealing in an online business where you get paid every day. And other challenges, just dealing with suppliers overseas and quality control. Footwear is an extremely hard industry because of sizing. You've got high return rates because no 2 feet are the same, really. And I suppose the lessons that you learn along the way, I remember, I'm the sort of person that I've always been the sort of person that what I say I'll do is what I'll do, and I don't depend on contracts too much and things like that. But I remember there was one occasion when I sold to a pretty large order to a retail chain in Sydney. And I remember the day I was walking to a cafe, and I was probably 25, 26, or they're maybe younger, and I'd fronted a fair bit of cash to get this order made, and bloke rang me and just said, I'm just letting you know that we're going into administration, and that the administrators will not pay you because we haven't signed a credit application. And I was just like, oh, what does this mean? You pay me later? And it's, no, you won't get paid. And I thought, okay, he's going to close down, but 13 years later, he's still trading. So you learn that there's people that do that professionally, right? Take advantage of suppliers and deliberately declare bankruptcy. So those are the moments where you sort of, I lost a fair bit of money, but learnt a lot. And that's life, right? I guess plenty of good stuff, plenty of tough stuff, but I guess it's all part of the journey. And 12, 13, 14 years later, whatever it is, I've learned from it all, and it's what's helped me end up where I am. So it's hard to call it bad stuff, really, then, because it's sort of helped shape my career, but tough at the time, for sure.
And then, of course, you mentioned, getting into Showpo and a huge kind of rocket ship business. How did you find that transition going, I guess, from founder to employee, and then from worrying about everything to suddenly working on some quite specific projects there?
Yeah, well, the latter I really enjoyed. Giving focus to certain projects was pretty rewarding, and it's much easier to structure your day and your month and your quarter. And as a founder and CEO, you're dealing with many things and trying to do projects as well as dealing with whatever comes up. So I really enjoyed the structure that it brought, to be honest, Theo. I didn't really have a problem with reporting to someone. I found the team there was really good. So that's something that I was, I was cautious, about how that would pan out. But the team was really good. We had a great camaraderie at the time, and it was okay. I just really enjoyed working there and the people that I work with. So I didn't really have an issue playing second fiddle really at all. I quite enjoyed it and just focused on the projects that we did, one of them being with PeopleVox, and found that it was, I liked the structure really, to be honest.
And maybe Ollie, it's worth bringing you in here as well. That project with us. What was the kind of huge requirement that Showpo had at the time, and something I thought that was worth bringing up as well? Showpo being one of these brands that's so heavily invested in social media, Instagram, having that kind of online community so engaged with them. It's kind of clear to me when looking through brands that you've got a comment section that's either in love with a brand and how they perform, or they're, on the other end of the scale, they're like perfectly primed to leave some pretty angry comments. So how conscious of that were you, and how did that affect what you were working on?
We read those reviews every day. We report on those reviews, and a lot of them are about logistics, right? Where's my parcel? It wasn't sent on time, So logistics is one of the most important parts of e-commerce, if not the most important, hands down. So I think the project with PeopleVox was, our requirements were pretty. I'm well aware that at that time we were like, we wanted everything and we wanted it now. That's just how we were. We wanted, at that time we'd had signed a new, so we were moving from 3PL to our own warehouse. We had lost the lease on the property that we'd told we had, so we had a lease ready to roll, and then that was pulled from us. So we quickly found another one, and then at that time we were interviewing, various warehouse management systems, and pretty frustrated because we found there's a lot of dinosaurs, right? Let's be honest. A lot of them were just, didn't understand what an integration was. A lot of them were using, just FTP servers and doing file dumps to get orders and things like that. And it just surprised me the amount of large warehouse management systems, no concept or no specialist at the team that you could talk to about at the time, Magento integration. So we were finding that difficult. We were getting quotes of up to $1 million a year to run a warehouse management system. Some of the capital expenditure was in the several hundreds of thousands, and the timeframes were typically 6 months. And I just wouldn't accept that. I was not interested in discussing it with anybody who was longer than 6 months. I refused to compromise because we had Cyber Week coming up, and it was gonna be tight. So when we did have the call with Ollie, and he'll tell you it was like, cool, how quick can we do this? How fast can we get going? We needed we want Cyber Weekend, and at that point we didn't even we had an empty warehouse. We probably hadn't even signed a lease, and we were saying, we want to be ready in 12 weeks or whatever it was. And we were doing some decent volume, so it wasn't like we were moving from a home garage into a slightly bigger warehouse. So I think that I don't know if I would have enjoyed being on the other end of my conversations, because it was all when, now, how much, and I'm totally aware of that, but semi-apologetic, but not totally, because it's also how you filter out the right suppliers. And I think at that time Ollie was up for the challenge as well, and I think we would have been breaking the record for integrating with PeopleVox, but we were up for it from our end. So what were we looking for? Good integration, something that's geared towards e-commerce, someone that got it, someone that was a modern company that was really all about e-com, someone that could scale with us, reliable technology, and that could just handle, let's call it our agility, but really probably our difficult nature, where we wanted to do everything. We wanted to be the first to do same day delivery across Australia. We wanted to pick orders till midnight. We wanted to know how fast our pickers were, our packers were. We wanted it all, right? So we had a long list of expectations, and we wanted it all done tomorrow. And so we went with People Box, and pretty much got straight into it. And we had daily calls, and the project was managed well. And I got to say, I think we did break the record for the quickest integration at the time, which I was very proud of. And it's like anything, Leo. You sort of you just know if you work with people who are slow moving and who don't get it or who don't want to get it, it just goes nowhere. But if you work with like-minded people or companies who just, even if the answer is not clearly out in front of you, just find a way to make it work. And I'm a big believer, like, sit down, hash it out, find a way forward, find it, and just keep moving. And we were able to do that. We kept moving, and then launched what I think was absolute game changer for Showpo. We just all of a sudden had great data in our warehouse. We had super efficiency. We had like pick accuracy of 0.03%. All of the KPIs that we were told by our 3P we could never beat, we smashed them. And the team in the warehouse loved it, and it was up fast, and it didn't cost what these other guys were charging. So it was a massive success, a huge project, and a massive success, and definitely one that I was really proud of.
That's awesome. Well, thanks very much. I guess now back to CEO again, right, with the horse. What are you really looking to sort of do with the brand? And I guess again the theory or the theme is that you've picked up so much kind of great understanding of the world you're working in and the best things to do. What do you think you need to do with a direct to consumer brand in 2020 and moving forward to really carry on standing out and offering kind of a unique brand offering?
Yeah, I think a company like the Horse it's been around for 10 years. It's heavily product centric. So it's founded by Scott and Amy, husband and wife, who love the product and they love the creative side. And I feel that what I needed to do when I joined was sort of just reset a little bit, look at some of the processes that were going on in the company and that were probably not scalable, the warehouse being one of them, and service software and the way we were buying. And I think often you find through a period of consolidation and just really taking the time to stop and look at a business, there are many different ways to grow, many different ways to skin that cat. So one of the first things that I got into was just their ordering, making sure that, it sounds very basic, but making sure that replenishment was being done correctly and on time, so that there was never a period where you were selling out of your grade A product, your best product. And that sounds like, buying 101, but it's in almost every business I go to, they're leaving money on the table by not handling their demand forecasting or their replenishment. So it was a lot of that sort of stuff, a lot of the boring stuff before we even talked about building out new product and stuff and increasing marketing. And we've done those things since, but it was a lot of process stuff. It was a lot of reset the warehouse, give everybody KPIs, reset the buying, redo the budget, run a tight budget, do an accurate forecast, a lot of the boring stuff, getting everything into line. And then once that foundation is there, it's obviously a lot easier to grow, which we are now. And again, one of the other really important things to do is look at, I suppose, what the data says your customers want in terms of your product mix, and really start to do your product development geared towards your average selling price and what your customers want rather than what you think they want. So just kind of rejigging the product mix a little bit, ensuring that what we're buying more or less matches what we're selling. And a lot of that sounds very basic, but it's just tightening a lot of that stuff up and making sure that we're a little bit more data driven in our buying and our product development and our pricing. We did some other things, like launched on a couple of marketplaces like Amazon and Zalora. So we've sort of tackled a few different things, and then a bit of a change of personnel. And once all that's in order, you do the basic things, which is like start to ramp up your marketing when you're reasonably sure that you have the data to quickly see whether it's working or whether it's losing efficiency as you increase, which is Another common one, turn up the marketing and expect to grow but lose efficiency and don't react quickly enough, and you have an unprofitable month. So it's a lot of the boring stuff, Leo, but it tends to pay dividends at the right company and if people buy into it. And I think this brand has huge potential, and it's starting to realise that potential. We're growing quite quickly now despite the environment. And I think it could, honestly, I think it could be anything. I think it could be a business that's 50% export, watches predominantly, which are small items which lend themselves to cheap freight and cheap storage. So it's sort of geared for international business, and I'm enjoying it. It's been great.
Awesome. So the last thing I guess I wanted to ask you about. So I saw on LinkedIn someone had posted up a picture of their warehouse transformation, and I think the top comment was, "I see that's a Waddy Trolley," and they'd you've got an official hashtag, an official kind of influencer status within the kind of Australian fulfillment world. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, if I could choose a hashtag, Leo, I don't think it would be Waddy Trolley, to be honest. But I sincerely hope that doesn't stick. And perhaps we could circulate something a little cooler and just give me a bit of time to put something forward. But in all honesty, Leo, I suppose I'm lucky enough that people come and ask me, stuff about e-commerce, and that's how I've fallen into a role as an advisor. But I am well aware, like, a lot of the value that I bring is a network of people that I trust and have worked with, and that's why if I can tell you where those trolleys were from, because if someone looks after me and does a good job, I will refer them and refer them and refer them. And I think that's I honestly believe that my suppliers are part of what my value proposition is, and including PeopleVox. And I have people ask me all the time, how did you do this? Last week I told Ollie, someone was in here again asking me, oh, were you able to do this with PeopleVox? And I'm happy to become that kind of unofficial ambassador, because why not share what's worked? And it has worked, and we've worked well together, and something's worked, whether it's a trolley in a warehouse or a customer service platform or a warehouse management system. I feel it's my obligation to get it out there and help other e-commerce businesses, because it's we're still early adopters in e-com here. It's still pretty small, like it's growing fast, but it's still only 10% of traditional retail. Now, as a somewhat early adopter, I think there's an obligation for us just to share the love a bit and share some info and grow the community, because it is a pretty tight-knit community. So it's funny, I have a bit of a chuckle when I saw that, and I just wanted to know who I could invoice for the referral, but all the replies stopped after I asked that, so still waiting on an answer on that.
Amazing. Well, Ollie, I'd love to throw it over to you and let you share the love a little bit. Paul's obviously a true legend of PeopleVox, Hall of Fame member. How do you sum it up for us?
Well, there's two bits to it, so I'm gonna sum it up, and then I'm gonna finish with a question. So hopefully my question's good. So to sum it up, we've got a guy that went and did it all himself before e-commerce was e-commerce, and as it was born into existence, and he's gained that experience, and then he's put himself in a position within Australian e-commerce, and now through PeopleVox world e-commerce, as someone that people can go to and depend on for sound advice. And I can testament to the fact that he really does work with his suppliers as a partner. He sees the future value in them. And he taught me a thing or two. One of the biggest things I'll never forget was the first photo of your warehouse got sent through, and you'd inherited this, it was too high up. We just looked at it and we went, it's just too high on the in the warehouse. We're like, who's gonna pick from up there? And you got Danny, who's about 12'7". He can pick up off anything. everyone was looking at me going, oh, what's going on? The photo got circulated round. And this is where we learned about the Waddy Trolley. And it was only upon going there and seeing in action, I was like, this is what the man's talking about. And what are we looking at? We're looking at what? 50% increase in pick face capacity. If you don't get up on that, you don't like e-commerce fulfillment. So that for me, that's one example of many, many, many things. Aside from the fact, you had a great team to bring in. Everything was great about that. And yes, the record 5.5 weeks is still owned by Showpo, Paul. You did it 100% remotely, which we're especially proud of, because so many people wonder, do I need someone local? Do I need people on site? And doing things remotely is what we've tried to do better than anybody else. So yeah, you still got the remote record, but we might have cheated and gone on site to get someone out of a much bigger pickle than you were in. And then to my final question, for operations, logistics, warehouse roles, I think the thing that you've done that provided more support at Showpo than perhaps other people in your role would do, and I have a feeling this is where you're of incredible value to the businesses that you go into and consult with, is combining the role of operations with really a customer experience, customer service angle, and really viewing certainly customer service as part of the operations team. Could you just speak a little bit to that, of how you see them coming together? Because whilst it may be a given for you, for many people watching this in an operations role, that may not be something that they've got their arms around. And in particular, some of the thing you're most proud of is some of the customer service results. So being able to extend next day delivery. So yeah, if you could just talk to that for a bit, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I think on that, Ollie, one of the great things that we did at Showpo, and we've got it here at the Horse as well, is the customer service team alongside the warehouse. So we shifted the team. We had a nice warehouse there with an office space, as we do here. So customer service sits alongside the warehouse. So, I mean, that's if you think about it, put your front line is your customer service team. Put them where the product is, right? Because I can assure you that the most commonly asked questions in most e-commerce businesses are going to be about logistics and about returns. I include returns in that, and about product. So if you put that team next to that department, next to the product, next to the logistics hubs, you surely will get faster response times for your customers. So the main metric for me in customer service responses is time. Everybody wants a reply within an hour, if not on live chat right away. So put the team where the product is, and I don't think that that's just limited to the customer service team. I think that in every e-commerce business, well, not just the e-commerce business, every team member needs to spend time in the warehouse to understand what goes on in the full supply chain. Even for a buyer, ordering doesn't stop when you've paid the money. The supply chain comes, it includes coming into the warehouse, out of the warehouse, and potentially back if there's a return. So I think it's important that people get in there and understand the full process. But I think one of the things that we did at Showpo is really use our logistics offering as a revenue driver. So if you've got flexibility in your warehouse across your staff, you need a great team, as you mentioned. Your WMS needs to be agile and needs to be able to handle it, and your freight partners need to be great. But if you have the right combination of those things, you can start to offer some of the things like we did, which was, hey, we'll pick your order until midnight and you'll get it the next day. Or at that time, we were doing same day delivery to 55% of Australia, way ahead of anybody else, including Amazon. When you consider as well the size of Australia, we had 55% of the population covered. So we were kind of not just worried about, hey, just pack your order and get it out. We were like, no, we're gonna use this to bring it back. We wanted to use our fulfillment and logistics as a way of bringing the customer back by giving them an incredible experience, great tracking, prompt returns, prompt delivery by exceeding their expectations. And I think that often what I see is a disconnect between customer service and warehouse and logistics, and people are so happy to get the sale and the great user experience on the site. I can tell you the user experience of post-purchase journey is as important. And if you want to retain customers, and for me, lifetime value is the most important metric above all, you have to have a very slick logistics offering. You have to get the parcel to them quickly and cheaply. And if they send it back, just handle it quickly and with accuracy, of course. So I think that logistics is underrated in e-commerce and is one of the absolute drivers to building a sustainable business, because it has a massive impact on the lifetime value of a customer.
Awesome.
Boom.
Boom.
If you're in operations, warehouse management, looking to go into logistics e-commerce, rewatch the last 2 minutes of Paul Waddy. That is the stuff you need to be drinking on to work out how you go from that warehouse functional role of everyone shouting at you, did all the orders go out on time, to becoming a strategic part of the business and helping it grow. And there are founders upon founders starting e-commerce businesses and growing fast that need people to come in and fill those roles. So yeah, really, really great. Thanks for that.
Yeah, cool.
Well, thanks so much for your time, your insights. It's been a pleasure to have you here. We are really, really delighted to have you as a member of the Hall of Fame. So thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm humbled, and I would assume that my trophy is in the mail on the way to me. Correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.